Don't underestimate old Lincoln pennies. Some 1-cent coins are hiding rare dates and mint mistakes that collectors are searching for right now. A small detail can turn a simple penny into something surprising. If you love coin treasure stories, hit like, subscribe for more rare finds, and start checking your pennies today. Back in 1972, something unusual happened at the United States Mint. Something that would quietly transform an ordinary 1-cent coin into one of the most fascinating collectibles in American numismatic history. Most people never notice it. Many have even spent one without realizing what they were holding. But the rare 1972 D. Lincoln 1-cent error coin has shocked collectors again and again, with auction prices climbing from around $68,500 all the way up to an astonishing $162,350 depending on condition, visibility of the error, and collector demand. At first glance, the 1972 D penny looks just like any other Lincoln cent. It carries the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, a design that has been part of American coinage for generations. The small D mint mark below the date indicates it was struck in Denver, making it one of the millions produced that year. But hidden within a tiny group of these coins are dramatic minting mistakes that changed everything about their value. Error coins are not simply damaged coins. They are mistakes created during the manufacturing process itself. That means the flaw happened before the coin ever entered circulation. Because they are accidental and rare, collectors prize them far more than standard coins. The rarer and more dramatic the error, the higher the price collectors are willing to pay. With the 1972 D. Lincoln penny, several types of errors have been identified, but the most desirable involve die misalignment, doubling effects, and striking irregularities that create unusual visual distortions. Some show letters that appear slightly shifted or shadowed. Others display uneven impressions or distorted design elements. When these characteristics are strong and clearly visible, the coin instantly moves from everyday pocket change into elite collector territory. Think about the difference in value. A normal 1972 D. Lincoln penny without any error is extremely common. In circulated condition, it may be worth only a few cents above face value, sometimes just 1 cent. Even uncirculated examples rarely reach significant prices because so many were produced. But introduce a dramatic mint error, and the story changes completely. Collectors have paid tens of thousands of dollars for the right example. Well-preserved error specimens have reached impressive auction results, with some verified sales recorded around $68,500 for strong examples with visible minting anomalies. Higher-grade coins with exceptional clarity, minimal wear, and well-defined error features have pushed prices into six-figure territory. One premium example reached an eye-catching $162,350 at auction, stunning collectors who once considered Lincoln cents modest collectibles. Why such extreme price differences? Comes down to rarity, visibility, and condition. Rarity matters because not many error coins escaped into circulation. Most minting mistakes are caught and destroyed before release. Only a small number survive, and even fewer remain in excellent condition decades later. Visibility matters because collectors want errors that are easy to see. Subtle flaws may still carry value, but bold and obvious mistakes create excitement and competition among buyers. Condition matters because coin grading plays a huge role in price. A sharply struck coin with minimal wear, clean surfaces, and strong detail will always command more attention than one that is scratched, faded, or heavily circulated. The grading scale used by collectors ranges from heavily worn examples to pristine mint state coins. When a 1972 D error penny appears in near-perfect condition, it becomes extraordinarily desirable, sometimes triggering bidding wars at major auctions. Auction history reveals how unpredictable and exciting this market can be. Some examples have sold for around $70,000 when the error is clear but moderate. Others have reached $95,000 to $120,000 when the coin shows stronger detail and better preservation. Elite specimens with exceptional clarity and minimal contact marks have climbed past $150,000, with the highest known results reaching approximately $162,350. That kind of price jump is not random. It reflects intense competition among collectors who understand how rarely such coins appear for sale. Another reason these coins command such attention is their connection to the history of coin production. Every error coin tells a story about the mechanical process of minting. Something shifted, misaligned, or malfunctioned for just a moment, and that moment became permanently captured in metal. Decades later, collectors treat those mistakes as historical artifacts to understand the value difference more clearly. Imagine placing two 1972 D pennies side by side. One is perfectly normal. Its letters are crisp and properly aligned. The design is uniform and consistent. Its value remains minimal because millions of identical coins exist. Next to it sits an error coin. Perhaps the lettering appears doubled. Maybe parts of the design look slightly shifted or uneven. The surfaces may show striking irregularities that cannot be duplicated intentionally. Suddenly, instead of being one of millions, the coin becomes one of only a handful known to exist. That rarity transforms it from currency into treasure. Many collectors began searching rolls of pennies after learning about these dramatic price differences. Stories circulate of people discovering valuable error coins in old collections, inherited jars, or forgotten coin rolls stored for decades. While such discoveries are rare, they continue to fuel excitement in the collecting community. The market for error coins has grown steadily as more people recognize how unique they are. Unlike standard coins that can be produced in predictable quantities, mint errors occur unpredictably. That uncertainty makes them fascinating to collectors who appreciate rarity that cannot be easily replicated. Another factor influencing value is authentication. Because prices can be extremely high, serious buyers demand professional verification. Certified coins graded and authenticated by respected services tend to bring higher auction prices because collectors trust their legitimacy. When a 1972 D Lincoln error penny receives a high grade and verified status, its desirability increases dramatically. Buyers know exactly what they are getting, and that confidence often leads to aggressive bidding. It's also important to remember that the market evolves. Prices recorded years ago may be exceeded when new examples appear or when collector demand increases. Some coins that sold for tens of thousands decades ago might command even higher prices today if they reappear in premium condition. This ongoing demand keeps attention focused on rare Lincoln cent errors, especially those from 1972 D, which continue to capture interest because of their scarcity and dramatic visual differences. Collectors often say that the thrill lies not only in the value but in the possibility of discovery. Every ordinary coin has the potential to hide an extraordinary mistake. That idea keeps people searching, examining, and learning more about minting processes and historical production methods. And that is what makes the 1972 D Lincoln 1-cent error coin so compelling. It represents a moment when precision failed, rarity emerged, and history was stamped into copper. From just 1 cent in face value to auction prices ranging from $68,500 to $162,350, the transformation is remarkable. Few objects in everyday life carry the potential for such dramatic change in worth. So the next time you see a 1972 D Lincoln penny, take a closer look. Examine the lettering. Study the design. Check for unusual doubling or striking differences. Because hidden among ordinary coins may be one of the rarest mint mistakes ever released into circulation. A small piece of metal that collectors consider priceless history. Imagine holding a small copper-colored coin that looks completely ordinary. A coin that millions of people have handled without a second thought. A coin that once bought almost nothing and today is often ignored in spare change. But hidden among countless identical pieces, a few rare examples tell a very different story. A story of mechanical imperfection, historical coincidence, and collector obsession. Because some 1985 D Lincoln 1-cent pennies with minting errors have become astonishingly valuable, worth more than many luxury cars. The Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of the most recognized coins ever produced in the United States, featuring the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front. First introduced in 1909, this coin became a lasting tribute to one of America's most influential historical figures. By 1985, the design had already been circulating for decades, and production was massive. Millions upon millions of pennies were struck each year to meet the needs of daily commerce. In 1985, a large portion of these pennies were produced at the Denver Mint, operating under the authority of the United States Mint. Coins struck there carry the small D mint mark, indicating their origin. These coins were manufactured in enormous quantities using high-speed industrial machinery designed for precision and uniformity. Every coin was meant to look exactly the same, identical weight, identical shape, identical design. And most of them do. A typical 1985 D Lincoln penny without any errors is extremely common. In circulated condition, it's usually worth only 1 cent. Even in uncirculated condition, many examples sell for just a small premium, perhaps a few cents or a few dollars at most. The reason is simple: abundance. When millions of identical coins exist, collectors have little reason to pay high prices. But sometimes, the minting process doesn't go as planned. During coin production, blank metal discs are fed into presses where hardened steel dies stamp the design onto the surface. The process is incredibly fast and normally precise. But if anything goes wrong, even for a fraction of a second, a mint error can occur. And when that error escapes quality control and enters circulation, it creates a rare and highly collectible piece. Some 1985 D Lincoln pennies show dramatic minting errors that completely change their appearance. These errors may include strong off-center strikes, where the design is noticeably shifted to one side. Others display double striking, where the coin was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. Some examples show die cracks, distorted lettering, or severe die deterioration that creates unusual textures or ghost-like outlines. In rare cases, improper metal flow or striking pressure can produce warped shapes or incomplete impressions. Each of these errors tells the story of a mechanical failure, a brief moment when the production process broke down. And that moment, frozen permanently in metal, transforms a common coin into something unique. That uniqueness is what drives value. A normal 1985 D penny is predictable and replaceable. But an error coin is unpredictable and rare. Some are one of a kind. Others may exist in extremely small numbers, and collectors compete fiercely to own them. When a mint error is bold, clearly visible, and confirmed to be genuine, its value can rise dramatically. In the case of certain 1985 D Lincoln 1-cent pennies with major striking errors, estimated market values have reached astonishing levels, ranging from about $59,620 to as high as $149,400 depending on the type and severity of the error. That price difference is almost unbelievable when you consider the coin's original face value. But collectors don't pay for face value. They pay for rarity, visual impact, and historical significance. For example, a slightly off-center strike might increase a coin's value moderately. But a dramatically off-center strike that leaves part of the coin blank while compressing the design into one edge can command enormous attention. Coins with strong double strikes that visibly overlap the design are even more desirable because they show clear evidence of mechanical misalignment. Some documented sales of exceptional examples have reached impressive figures. Strong double-strike error specimens have been known to sell for over $62,000 when well preserved. Highly dramatic off-center examples have reached values exceeding $85,000. Rare combinations of multiple errors, such as die damage plus misalignment, have achieved sales well beyond $100,000. And the most visually extreme and well-preserved pieces have been estimated or sold within the remarkable range of $59,620 to $149,400. That enormous range depends on several factors. First is the type of error. The more dramatic and obvious the mistake, the higher the potential value. Second is preservation. A sharply detailed coin with minimal wear will always command more attention than one that is heavily circulated. Third is authenticity. Professional certification confirming that the error occurred during minting, not from damage after production, significantly increases confidence and value. And finally, demand. When multiple collectors want the same rare coin, competitive bidding can push prices far beyond expectations. This is what creates the extreme gap between ordinary coins and error coins. A regular 1985 D Lincoln penny might be worth 1 cent to a few dollars depending on condition. A rare error version of the same coin might be worth tens of thousands, or more than $100,000. Same year, same design, same mint. Completely different value. That difference exists because one coin represents perfection, and the other represents failure. And in the world of numismatics, failure is often far more valuable. Another fascinating aspect is how many of these coins circulated unnoticed. Some were spent in everyday transactions. Some were stored in jars of loose change. Some were tucked away in drawers for decades. Many people handled them without ever realizing they were looking at something extraordinary. That means undiscovered examples could still exist today. Collectors who search for valuable coins don't just look for shine or age. They look for irregularity. They examine alignment, lettering, spacing, surface texture, and metal flow. They search for anything that looks slightly wrong, because wrong can mean rare, and rare can mean extremely valuable. Imagine finding a coin that appears slightly off-center, or shows faint doubling, or has an oddly shaped edge. To most people, it might look like damage. But to an experienced collector, it might be evidence of a minting error worth thousands, or even over $100,000. That possibility is what keeps collectors searching. Because every once in a while, a tiny mechanical mistake from decades ago reveals itself and transforms an ordinary penny into a remarkable treasure. A simple copper coin. A split-second production error. A value that can range from $59,620 to $149 for $100. All because perfection failed, and history preserved the mistake forever. Imagine holding a coin that most people see every single day. A penny, the smallest denomination in U.S. currency. They jingle in pockets, get forgotten in drawers, and are often overlooked as nearly worthless. But what if I told you that one specific Lincoln 1-cent penny from 1980, the kind you might have spent without a second thought, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars, even up to $63,650 to $154,500 in the right circumstances? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly what happens when a penny isn't just a penny at all, when it has a true error that makes it exceptionally rare and highly collectible. The Lincoln cent has been a staple of American coinage since it was first introduced in 1909, honoring the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. For decades, it's been one of the most common coins ever minted. In 1980 alone, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents intended for everyday circulation. Most of these were perfect examples of modern coin production, uniform, technically accurate, and identical to the millions around them. A standard 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny without errors holds no significant collector value beyond its face value, or at best a small premium if it's in uncirculated condition. A typical circulated 1980 Lincoln cent might sell for just a few cents, or at most a couple of dollars to a collector who wants to complete a date and mint set. This is because they are abundant and almost all of them look exactly the same. But sometimes, something goes wrong in the minting process, and what should have been a mundane coin turns into an extraordinary find. These are known as error coins, and for collectors, error coins are thrilling because they are unplanned, unintentional deviations from what was supposed to be produced. They are the accidents of the minting world, and the rarer and more dramatic the mistake, the higher the value. Error coins can occur in a variety of ways. A coin might be struck off-center, where the design is pushed to one side and part of the coin is blank. A double strike can leave overlapping images where the coin was hit by the press more than once. Sometimes a die is cracked, and those cracks transfer unusual raised lines onto the coin's surface. In some of the rarest cases, entire elements of the design may be missing or improperly aligned. These flaws are not intentional, they are mistakes that slipped through quality control, and if they are striking enough, they become highly desirable. In the case of the 1980 Lincoln cent, the most sought-after error varieties occur when the coin was struck severely off-center or when a double-strike error created overlapped images so dramatic that the coin looks almost unrecognizable at first glance. These kinds of errors are extremely rare because modern production techniques and quality control measures generally catch most mistakes before they ever leave the mint. That means only a tiny fraction of the coins minted in 1980 have any significant error at all, and only some of those errors are dramatic enough to be valuable. Collectors look at things like how far off-center the strike is, how many degrees the image is shifted, what part of the design is missing or duplicated, and whether the coin has been certified as genuine by a respected grading service. These factors all play into how much a coin might be worth. For a typical Lincoln cent without any error, even one in pristine uncirculated condition might be worth only a few dollars at best. That's because the baseline for value in coin collecting is scarcity and demand. There are millions of error-free 1980 pennies out there, and collectors know they are easy to find. But then there are those extraordinary error coins that have features so unusual and rare that collectors compete to own them. That competition drives prices up, sometimes into the tens of thousands of dollars. In documented cases, Certain dramatic error coins from 1980 have drawn prices in the collector market that reach well into the five-figure range. Some have crossed the $63,650 mark, others have been valued even higher, and truly exceptional specimens have commanded approximate values up to $154,500 depending on eye appeal, rarity of the specific error style, and how well the coin has been preserved over time. That kind of valuation places these error pennies in the realm of high-end numismatic treasures, on par with some of the most famous error coins in U.S. history. What makes these error coins so fascinating is not just their dollar value, but the story they tell about the minting process. Modern coins are struck with extraordinary precision using state-of-the-art machinery. For a coin to come off the press with a dramatic error means something unexpected occurred. A momentary misfeed, an alignment issue, or an equipment malfunction. That imperfection becomes frozen in metal forever. The majority of coins are perfect, but the rare few with major errors are the ones collectors hunt relentlessly. So what's the real difference between a normal 1980 Lincoln cent and one of these high-value error coins? A normal penny has a fully centered design, with Abraham Lincoln's profile clearly and completely visible, and all details sharp and uniform. It's predictable and consistent, the product of a well-calibrated production process. What separates a high-dollar error coin is the unpredictable. The design is displaced, doubled, missing, or in some other way altered from what it should be. The coin with the mistake stands out instantly when viewed closely because something looks off. It's this departure from perfection that gives the coin its rarity and value. Of course, not all error coins are worth huge sums. Minor errors or slight off-center strikes might only add a small amount to a coin's value. But when the error is significant, when a major portion of the design is affected, collectors take notice. Many serious collectors specialize specifically in error coins because they know the potential value these scarce varieties can hold, especially when authenticated and graded. The grading and authentication process is also important. Coins that are professionally graded and encapsulated by reputable services often fetch higher prices because buyers can trust the authenticity and condition. A certified error coin will command more attention and higher bids among collectors than an uncertified one. This is especially true when the error is so dramatic that it can sometimes be mistaken for damage rather than a minting mistake. Grading services help distinguish genuine errors from post-mint damage. In private sales and collector exchanges, some of the most dramatic 1980 Lincoln cent error coins have brought serious money. There are stories of coins with extreme off-center strikes being sold for prices well into the five figures because their unique appearance and rarity created intense interest. Other coins with double-strike images that are clear and dramatic have been similarly valued. Once you cross into that realm of desirability, the price range from around $63,650 up to approximately $154,500 becomes realistic for the very rarest and best-preserved examples. The collector community thrives on these discoveries. Coin enthusiasts love the thrill of searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to find something that breaks the mold. A coin that might look ordinary at first glance can reveal an extraordinary story under closer inspection. And while most 1980 Lincoln cents will never be worth more than face value, the few with true mint errors can be among the most exciting and valuable finds in modern coin collecting. So if you ever find yourself holding a 1980 penny that looks unusual, maybe the date seems off, the design looks shifted, or something about it just doesn't seem quite right, take a closer look. You might be holding one of the rarest Lincoln cents in existence, a coin whose value isn't measured in pennies but in tens of thousands of dollars, all because of a momentary imperfection frozen in time. And in the world of coin collecting, those imperfections are where the real treasures are found.